explain your perspective of what that means by sometimes it looks like Facebook is doing worse, but the business is doing better, but you're not necessarily decreasing spend or capping Facebook, right?
Sure.
So explain that model.
So there's one thing to say I'm going to get the best ROAS. There's one thing to say I'm going to get the best contribution margin. There's one thing to say that I'm going to find my success on the attributed actions from my ads. There's another thing to say Facebook is a terribly inefficient bottom of funnel engine. And business models should be amplified by Facebook. The business model shouldn't be use Facebook to make money. Facebook ads don't make sales. Like your website makes the sale. Your customer journey, if your product is good, people come back and buy again. That's revenue. All Facebook does, it's like the billboard. It's the carnival barker. It gets you in the tent. The rest of your business is how you make money. And I think one of the biggest issues is people look at, well, this Facebook ad got this CPA or this CAC or this contribution margin, whatever. So this is good for me. My pushback is, what about every other channel? Like I saw something today where somebody put up a LinkedIn post and they were like, saying this one thing in your video will kill your ROAS. And my comment was, the easiest way to kill ROAS is to stop running search and stop running email because your Facebook will look terrible. Right? Like Facebook is the front end to a customer journey. But more importantly, it's generally top or mid funnel to a purchase. That purchase is the beginning of a customer journey with your brand.
Yeah.
Too many marketers look at their success and failure as the ability to acquire that first transaction. They're salespeople. I like to make the analogy that's like being a hunter. You live and die by your ability to kill more calories than you exude in a daily basis, right? It takes you 5,000 calories to kill something, but it's 6,000 calories to eat, you don't die today.
Right.
But if you're a farmer, you can feed 1,000 people for the same amount of calories. And if you can grow like 1 ear of corn, might be able to enough, have a meal or whatever. But if you take 3 of those seeds, put it in the ground, in 90 days, you're going to have 2 to 4 pounds of fruit. It becomes fractional banking and you can grow geometrically if you start to look at your sales as e-commerce is lead generation. That first sale isn't actually the value of the customer. The value of the customer is, can you get the best transactions? Can you acquire the profitable customer journeys where you understand the cash flow and the value of that customer? If I know, for instance, it costs me $40 between COGS and CPA to make a sale. And let's say it's $50. And let's say the AOV on that transaction is roughly $80. Now you might say, hey, great, it's cost me $50 to make $80. That's phenomenal. And somebody else might come, well, I can actually get that down to $40. I can get that down to $35 by promoting other offers. But what if I know that $50 average blended CPA across the entire customer journey actually translates to, say, 2.5 transactions? Now, let's say that first so that means that in all, I'm paying maybe $125. And if the AOV is 80, that customer is basically worth 200. So I'm basically paying $125 in CPA and COGS to acquire $200 in revenue. Now that's a blended CPA across all transactions, across all channels. What if it's actually $90 on the first sale on Facebook? So I lose $10. But I know over the next $35 of investment, I'm going to make 2 more transactions that are worth it. Now, let's say I also know that customer buys roughly every 90 days. Well, maybe I have to break even until day 90. And then on day 91, let's say 10% of customers buy again. Well, my CPA drops by 10% overnight.
Yep.
In another 90 days, my CPA drops again. So I can tap into that fractional banking. The point is, media buyers are defining their successes. Can I drive a lead at less cost than the lead is worth? Even if it's e-commerce, because that first sale is nothing more than a lead to a customer journey with additional transactions. And so ultimately there's this misalignment of objectives. And when you see thought leaders putting in these ideas of any sale I can make below this number is good if it's on Facebook. And then they set up these constraints to make sure that you just get that thing. The most popular constraint these days is cost caps. And look, don't get me wrong, I'm not against cost caps. The cost cap bro culture is quite literally taking the blueprint that I did in a case study 6 years ago in the Facebook Disruptor group with brands like Purple and Smile Direct Club and 310 Nutrition. Like their entire business model is the icing on like the cupcake of an entire 5-course meal. And I wrote the entire playbook 6 years ago. The problem is when you're only focusing on profit margin per transaction and you're not taking into account future cash flow or volume, the media buyer looks good and good and good. They look better and better until the company goes out of business.
Well, yeah, until they're not growing.